today for from next.
Education, education, education. Former Prime Minister Tony Blair said these were his priorities for Britain. Today, I tell you our three main priorities for the next generation must be aspiration, aspiration, aspiration. But what does aspiration actually mean? A political buzzword or an answer to every question the country faces? Our aspiration has to be to build a country where the promise of Britain is fulfilled, where each generation does better than the last, where it doesn't matter who you are or where you come from, what matters is your desire to fulfill your dreams. Aspiration is where we accept that it's a good thing to allow 16 and 17-year-olds to vote and to hold politicians to account. So why not ask if our youth want to inherit a Britain that's part of the EU or not? Aspiration is where we have a parliament more representative of our country, more female MPs, more ethnic minorities, more members from the disabled and LGBT community. Aspiration is striving towards a progressive form of politics, where politicians put aside partisan bickering and work in bipartisanship to achieve social equality and justice. When we work together, we achieve great things. Let's just take a look at marriage equality. The Prime Minister said a huge amount about one nation and big society. This here is big society in action. It's about time politicians call on us, the young people, to help set the agenda. Britain's youth are ready to answer this call. The truth is that we can work at 16, marry at 16, but we can't vote at 16. So call on us to shape Britain. Call on us to build a Britain for the many and not just a few. Thank you very much.
Next we have Neha from Sir Jonathan Little.
Students, judges and teachers. More than 2,500 migrants, many of whom are children, younger than us, have died trying to cross the Mediterranean Sea. These vulnerable migrants who are escaping war and persecution were called cockroaches by Katie Hopkins. She even suggested that the government should deploy gunships to stop them landing on shore. Whilst no European parties have spoken like Hopkins, their apathy suggests that migrants' lives are disposable. Finally, the EU has warned of a humanitarian emergency which requires an exceptional response. And how does our Home Secretary, Theresa May, respond? She states that the UK will not participate in any migrant resettlement, but she offers no other solution. So, how do we deal with the situation? Do we leave migrants to drown or be abused by people traffickers? Do we treat them as if they are insects? No. I am a child of an immigrant. In fact, many of us here are. So we know that migrants are humans to be treated with respect. The UK has a proud tradition of providing refuge for those who need it. So why are we helping now? We can influence what the government does. We cannot just ignore the situation. We must put pressure on the government to aid these migrants in their time of need. Thank you.
Next up we have Alfie from Uppingham Community College.
By 2016, the richest 1% will own over half of the world's wealth. Meanwhile, over 3 billion people live on less than $2.50 a day. Clearly, there's major inequality on planet Earth. So what can be done? We could start by clamping down on tax avoidance. At the moment, everything a British citizen earns, including worldwide incomes, is taxed by the UK. However, there's a loophole. Over 113,000 people claim non-domicile tax status. This allows people who say that Britain isn't their home to not pay tax on income from other countries. This may sound fair, but it isn't. It's incredibly easy to claim non-dom status. You can show that another country is your home by property, parentage, or even having worked there. Non-doms don't have to spend time in their home country or pay tax towards it. They're allowed unlimited time in the UK, giving them the same benefits as everyone else. People and companies with large worldwide earnings take advantage of the world and deprive the UK of millions in tax. Yet our government refuses to abolish it, claiming that doing so would cause the rich to leave. The gap between rich and poor is shocking. It's up to the world's most powerful countries to do something about it. Our government, however, won't change a rule that allows the rich to avoid paying tax. Fair? I don't think so.
Our next finalist is Sunny. It's from English Martyrs.
Good afternoon. Do you believe the new Parliament represents the British people? I'm afraid I do. If you compare a picture of the faces in this room now with a photograph of Cameron's cabinet, you would not see a mirror image. Yet these people make decisions which affect our lives. There may be a couple of women in lonely positions and a token agent, but really, the cabinet is largely made up of white, privately educated men. Mr. Cameron boasted that our Parliament now has a higher proportion of women and ethnic minorities than ever. But 10% of voters are non-white, yet they only have 6% of seats. 51% of the nation are women, yet they only have 29% of seats. Parliament does not reflect our society. Clearly, we have been let down by an unfair voting system. We have a ruling party that 2/3 of the nation voted against, a nationalist party with 56 seats, but only 5% of the nation's vote, and a situation where 5 million people who voted for UKIP or Greens are sharing just 2 seats. Ladies and gentlemen, our modern, progressive, and increasingly diverse nation deserves better. Thank you.
Next up, we have Bramfleet from Hamilton College.
Hello, my name is Bramfleet, and today I'll be giving a speech about our British education system. I wonder how many people here feel that they come from a privileged background. Members of our government and our new education minister, Nicky Morgan, were born with many advantages that most of us don't have. The truth is, many families in the UK will struggle in one way or another. We live in a society where there are still many inequalities. We have to face the fact that many of us will have to work much harder just to get what others began in life. To make matters worse, Nicky Morgan has decided to introduce her gold standard qualification. She says students aren't working hard enough in our British schools. She says British young people are underachieving. She says we aren't doing enough. In her eyes, we have failed, and it's our fault. She points to Finland and tells us that we must take exams which are harder. She wants to make it harder for students in Britain to achieve higher grades. She is changing the exam grading system so that the disadvantaged young people in our society become more disadvantaged than ever. This cannot be right or fair. We must speak out. We must stand up for what we know is right. Nicky Morgan, you have totally missed the point here, and like most Tory ministers, have failed to tell us the whole truth. You failed to point out that all students in Finland get free food, free healthcare and free personal mentoring. But today I ask you, where is that support in our British schools? Austerity measures, introduced by your government, has cut the support from our schools and from our society. I believe in fighting for a better future. This can come about with a proper government. Improve the healthcare system, put councillors back in schools, provide free meals for all children, then talk about raising the grade boundaries. Thank you very much.
Our final contestant is Yusuf from Madani.
How many of you feel your voices are not heard? How many of you feel your concerns are disregarded? How many of our youth feel that they've been alienated from the system? How many people from the deprived communities, the homeless, the foodless, feel that they've been abandoned from society, the government, the system, the people, us? Well, I say enough is enough. It's time the voices of the poor are heard, not just the rich. It's time the uneducated are listened to, not just the educated. It's time this country realizes that the youth are its future and it needs to listen to their views and concerns. It's absolutely astounding to me that this country thinks its economy is getting better when there are over 1 million people who rely on food banks for their food. Even more shocking than this is the fact that the rich are 64% richer than before the recession, while the poor are 57% poorer. In addition to this, there are approximately 940,000 young people in education, employment or training. That's 940,000 people who can't get a career, who can't provide for their families and who can't build a future for themselves. So it's time this government supports the people who really need it and invests money in things that needed to be invested in. There's a saying, a building is only as strong as its foundation. Just like this country's foundation, the youth, who are the future of this country, and the working class people who make up the economy are not allowed to say into the government, are not allowed to say into the system, and are not supported by the government, then just like the building, this country will fall apart.